iStock Audio.
Through Coach in a Box's extensive research database, we've been able to decode the changes that most leaders find hardest to make. In this video, we're going to explore the fuel that drives the movers and the shakers of the world. It's about finding the inspiration to act, having a vision for something different, and setting a direction that others can follow. Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Richard Branson, Steve Jobs. There is no shortage of examples of people who have led a change and really made a difference. You'll have your own particular personal favourite, not necessarily a famous name. There may be someone close to you who has equally inspired you. There may even be moments in our own lives when we feel like we've fired up those around us and really inspired them to make a difference. In reality, however, it's equally likely that we live our lives in an attempt to satisfy the demands of the roles that we fulfill. Good husband or wife, successful business person, great colleague, and so on. And this can lead to a growing sense of dissatisfaction. Isn't there more to life than this? Couldn't we do more? If you're in this frame of mind, you're ready for a shift. So what is it that gives great leaders the energy to inspire? What gives us the courage to inspire ourselves and others to challenge the status quo and to aim higher? At Coach in a Box, we work with senior executives, some of whom are relatively satisfied. Life's pretty good, and they have little energy to make a difference, and change is an incremental process. Others can see clearly what's wrong and are very good at articulating what that is. But it's the third group that's particularly interesting. They not only know what's wrong, but they have an inspiring vision for how it should be and the energy to pursue it. They are the ones who are most successful in realising a change. Here's a true story about one of our clients. He was immensely successful. He was a senior leader, well respected in his field, and a dedicated father with a close circle of friends. Even so, he knew something was missing. He felt unfulfilled and knew he wasn't an inspirational creator of change. So what can we do about this? How can we help you if you're at a similar crossroads? The practice we employ as part of this shift comes in 4 stages, 4 elements: earth, fire, air, and water. The earth element is all about rooting our vision deep within our own personal set of values. It makes the difference between doing something deeply important and significant to us and just working hard to do the best we can. Our values are the things that are important to us, defining who we are and how we behave. But generic values aren't enough. We all want to live with integrity and to be honest and to care for others and so on. What we're looking for are the 2 or 3 core values that define our personality and our choices. If we tap into these, we begin to see those changes that we are most passionate about. Our vision begins to come into focus. The next stage, the fire element, is about creating a burning platform. If you have a burning ambition, nothing less than realising that ambition will do. But have we got used to being satisfied? Are we tolerating second best? Are we being too accommodating and saying, it's not really so bad? Dissatisfaction is not necessarily a negative emotion. It's a trigger for improvement, the permission for inspiration. How do we make the situation better? How do we fill these gaps? How can we inject some energy here? The trick is to create dissatisfaction both with the situation and with the way that we're responding to it. We challenge ourselves to be less passive, to stop waiting for others to act, and to lean in and create a solution ourselves. Now it's time for the air element. This is all about creating an aspirational vision. Don't think hot air, Think blue sky, visualising a better future. In this stage, we deliberately create a tension between what is going on now and our vision. This means we need to be able to project a different future from the one we have to put up with if nothing changes. It's an imaginative process. And the core practice is what Aristotle called entelechy. It's a fabulous ability. It's about looking beyond today's constraints and problems and being able to visualise a different future, one that's rooted in what we care about and that inspires ourselves and others to think differently and to strive to change the status quo. It's also long-term, and it's highly unlikely that at the outset we can plan every step required to realise the vision. We can only take the first steps, and we need to take a risk to get moving even when we're not sure we'll succeed. And this is the fourth element, water, creating action and movement. I like the quote from T. Lawrence, "All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night, in the dusty recesses of their minds, wake in the day to find it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act on their dreams, with open eyes to make them possible." He's talking about the difference between people who just dream, which is the air element, and those who act on those dreams. This is the water practice. It's about taking the first step. In coaching, we often call these first steps experiments, and this language is deliberately chosen to give us permission to fail, to learn from it, and to keep moving on. These four symbolic elements make up the leadership practice, which sits at the heart of setting a vision and direction. By constantly staying awake to these elements and making them part of our conscious thinking, minute by minute and day by day, we'll spot the opportunities to be better leaders. We'll become more likely to take centre stage when others hesitate to set a direction. We'll become leaders who create change, who take control of our own lives and control of the situations we're faced with. Here's a story I find personally inspiring. When Dr. Gutman took over the spinal injuries clinic at Stoke Mandeville Hospital in 1946, the outlook for patients was not a promising one. The average life expectancy was 2 years. Not because of the actual condition, but the impact of being confined in a hospital bed with pressure sores and urinary infections, which were typical side effects. Dr. Gutman had a vision to change this scenario based upon a set of core values that were all important to him. He believed passionately in the worth of self-esteem and realised that most patients were lacking in it. In fact, they were depressed. The outcome was that he championed sport as a way to build self-esteem and to promote activity, and in doing so launched the Stoke Mandeville Games. This vision led to the founding of the Paralympic movement that now sees over 10,000 athletes from 150 countries competing every 4 years on the global scale. Whilst you and I may never achieve such great things, by mastering the elements of this practice, we'll become an inspiration to others, leaving the world a better place as a result.
iStock Audio.